Katherine, I'm really excited to have this conversation today. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, to kick us off, would you mind just providing an introduction on who you are and the role you have here at Deloitte?
Absolutely. Katherine Wannan, I'm a partner in our human capital team. I focus on all things workforce.
Thank you. Now, obviously, climate reporting and the AASBS2 is now mandatory for Wave 1 of Australian corporate organizations. And we are seeing that organizations, as they're really embedding the reporting systems into their organization, they're also looking at the capabilities and the organizational structure that's required. You're working in that place all the time. I'd love to know, in your perspective, what are the core capabilities that you identify as key to really enabling this reporting transformation, shall we say?
Absolutely. So, firstly, it's an exciting time to be in workforce and climate and sustainability because of all of the things that you've just mentioned. When we talk about capability, we talk about that in two different ways. The first one is organizations need more and better climate capability. What is climate? How does our organization influence climate? What are our climate goals? The second thing is it's about the combination of climate with other capabilities, climate plus data, climate plus strategy, climate plus reporting that becomes really important to be able to deliver on AASB and indeed the organisation's broader climate goals.
So, when we think about the broader climate goals, I'd love to know from your perspective, what do they need to do to prepare the workforce for this to occur? What is the steps or capabilities or core requirements that are necessary?
Absolutely. We see four. So the first one is around integration, and these four things they tie back to what organisations need to be doing to prepare for AASB anyway. First one, integration. We know the key change that comes out of AASB is the integration of climate into financial reporting and disclosures, and then all of the flow-on things that come from that. In order to deliver on that, organisations need finance and strategy teams that really understand climate and can weave that into their decision making. That's thing number one. Thing number two is around data. In order to be able to make a disclosure around climate, organisations need really strong data to be able to understand the impact that they're having from a climate perspective, to measure that. In order to do that, they need individuals that understand data and technology and how that data flows through the organisation and climate at the same time, so they can make sure that there is deeply insightful climate related data to be able to make those various decisions and disclosures on. The third one is around accountability. In order to be able to disclose on something, you need great data and you've got to be making a decision based on it. So you need leaders who understand climate, climate goals, and can make decisions on that. That means you need leaders that are upskilled, but they also need to have really clear roles and responsibilities, KPIs that are supporting them, and climate needs to be woven through the governance structures of the organisation to make sure that the climate decisions they're making align with the decisions across the rest of the organisation. The final one is Nirvana. Weave climate into your operating model and have individuals that are making climate related decisions as part of every single thing that they do. There's a lot of work that is required to get to that. There's definitely the three things that I spoke about before, but there's a whole lot of other things that organisations need to do as well. Some organisations are heading down that path already, but there is a long road to get to for many others.
So, what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this is like the transformation we had with the internet or new types of transformation that come through organizations in different waves. And that sounds like there's a lot of work to be done. To take this in a pragmatic instance, what should they do first?
The easiest thing to do is to upskill your workforce. Start with the teams that have the greatest impact on your climate goals and the greatest impact on your reporting. Finance and strategy are probably the ones that sit in that bucket for most organisations. And then working concentric circles out from that, depending on the roles, the teams, the individuals that influence your climate goals the most.
And of course, that will vary dependent on the types of business or the types of business needs and the types of capabilities inside the organization. So I can imagine the upskilling requirement is incredibly varied depending on whether or not they're a B2C business or a B2B business or a mining company or a finance organization.
Exactly. If you're a mining company, procurement is probably going to sit pretty close to one of the groups that you would look to upskill or influence first because they hold the keys to a lot of your scope 3 emissions. If you're a bank, procurement probably doesn't have that greater influence on that, but bankers certainly do because they're the key to all your financed emissions. So, yes, the industry that you work in definitely influences the workforces that you would focus on first.
So, as we spoke just briefly about the fact that this is kind of a new transformation, it could be like the new AI transformation, or even when the internet came to life, we have to upskill our workforce. We need to reconsider the way that we operate as an organization. It seems pretty challenging. Again, here we are in 2025, thinking that, oh, maybe we won't have to do this again. But my question is, can we use those same blueprints in order to achieve this new goal around climate and being embedded through an organization?
100%. Climate is a big change, but organisations have been through big changes before. And I think it makes it feel much less daunting if you think about it in that context. Organisations have managed digitisation, they're managing climate, they're managing AI, and the many other transformations that they've been through. I think it's really helpful to think about climate as any other transformation, albeit a very significant one, but any other transformation nonetheless.
Thanks, Catherine. I think what we're hearing is apply a pragmatic lens, understand the core capabilities that are required, upskill your organization in a way that's meaningful for you, in a fashion that supports you, your stakeholders, and your shareholders. What are the final takeaways that you'd like this audience to really walk away with?
Key takeaway for me is that every job is a climate job. Financial reporting does not sit in isolation. It is really reflecting the actions of every single person across the entire organization. Every single person influences how an organization impacts climate. Every single person influences how that organization delivers on its climate strategy. So, that for me is the key takeaway. Every job is a climate job.
What a great takeaway. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.